Hello and welcome back to the channel, D-MANTV. As usual, that good stuff. Like, follow, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, all that stuff. Help the channel grow. Appreciate you joining me this evening. Didn't think I'd be back so soon, but as usual, another interesting day in the life and times of Newcastle United. This time, this whole Alexander Isak thing, as usual, doesn't seem to be going away. But yeah, man, it's breaking news, shall we say. Alexander Isak, he was due to be at the PFA awards ceremony, and it came out yesterday he wouldn't be attending, which is no surprise. But what is surprising that he's finally broken his silence in the form of his social media. I don't know if it's his Instagram, but he's made the following statement. I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League Team of the Season. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. The silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that the promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best of interest of everyone, not just myself. Alexander Isak. Quite a statement, I think you'd agree. So it seems like, obviously, he's not happy. We've known that through his actions. He's saying that the promises were broken by the club. What promises, we don't know. Was it the bumper contract that was supposedly offered to him by the previous ownership, Amanda and Mehrdad, and taken away by Paul Mitchell? Or is it the fact that he informed the club that he wanted to leave and we've agreed to allow him to do so in the summer? Now, obviously, things haven't happened the way he wanted to, but the reality is, you're still a Newcastle United player, and Newcastle still technically hold all the cards in this because you've signed a contract with no release clause. You've got 3 years left. If you need you to honour that contract, you can down tools all you want, but reality is you will be playing for Newcastle again if you're not sold. My personal preference, listen, I think he's gone too far now. He's made the position clear now. I think it's time that we do sell. Yes, we need to get some replacements in, but if Liverpool were to offer the money that we want, i.e. the 150 million, can we really turn that down given the situation? I'm not so sure. I think if we manage to get one striker in, I know we need two, but if we get one striker in, I think, we'll cut our losses and sell him and then bring in someone later. But end of the day, to make that statement, you made your position clear, and I don't see any coming back from it. Up until now, that Eddie left the door open. Some fans were still hoping that he'd be reintegrated into the squad, but yeah, I think it's gone past that now. I don't see a way back for him, and he obviously doesn't want a way back. To put out a statement like that, it's very evident where his head is at the moment. He wants to go to Liverpool. It's just a question of, will the club get the deal done? I personally believe they will get it done. I think it's going to get done sometime next week after we play them, the grudge match, so-called grudge match on the 25th, and he'll get his wishes. I know the club have had this start that he's not for sale, but let's be honest, everyone has their price. We've seen bigger players leave clubs, and the club will survive. But it's not an ideal situation that we're in. We're linked to pretty much every other striker around, and we know the Vissa situation. Brentford have moved the goalpost, they've upped the price, and that's their prerogative. Vissa is acting in a similar way to Isak. So can we really be, annoyed at Isak and still want Vissa? I'm not so sure. There's new links today about Strand Larson, who he's okay, but he's not an Isak replacement. He's more of a Wilson replacement. But even then, Wolves, who need him, I said he's not for sale unless we offer stupid money, and we're not going to do that. So who else is there? We're running out of options. So what would the club decide? Will they grant his wishes, leave us in a sticky situation, or will we tell him, listen, unless we can get the two strikers, you're going nowhere? Let me know in the comments what you think we'll do, what you think of Isak's comments, and where do you think we go from here? Because the window's running out. Time is running out in the window. We've got We need 2 strikers. We haven't got one. You know, we definitely ain't going to have one in time for the Liverpool game, which is disappointing. But yeah, it's interesting. Another interesting twist in this saga, but it has to come to an end soon for everybody's sake. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back soon. Peace.